Hello and welcome, David. The 18th episode of A Quick Brew, I think.
18th episode and a human soundboard as
I think
well.
humans. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
Give it a bit of that. Look,
Cheers.
cheers. Chin chin.
Cheers to that. And
What,
yeah,
what are you on today?
for me, black coffee. It's a busy day.
Whoa, black coffee, bam, bam, whoa, black coffee, bam, bam. Um,
Rocket
I'm
fuel.
on a white tea.
White.
A white tea, yeah.
Stewie.
Cool whip.
Cool whip. I love Family Guy. It's awesome, isn't it?
It's class. I mean, it's very, very close to the bone, but it's
At times.
class. But
It
yeah,
is.
it's white tea is good for the lungs. So it's blueberry and elderflower, this particular white tea. You know, in these times of like colder times, especially with myself, I'm a smoker. I know I need to stop that at some stage. But
Yeah.
the white tea does tend to help me through these periods.
So when you said white tea, I thought you meant with milk.
No,
But as opposed to a black
variation
tea.
of green tea.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically,
Exactly.
it's essentially green tea. They pick the leaves a lot earlier, so they're a lot um, um, they're a lot less mature than green tea leaves. So often, pretty much, very very young compared to the length of time it takes to make green tea leaves. They pick them young, and they found that there's further benefits, sort of like respiratory health, etc., etc. So I'm on a white tea.
White tea. And and who knew this was a botanist podcast?
Yeah. Well, I actually bought an interesting book
Go
for
on.
the bookcase because obviously everything that's going on with my dad and the problems that he's going through.
Yeah.
But it was the Natural Healing Handbook,
Wow.
and that is by I didn't say who it's by. I don't think.
James
But it's basically
Sharples?
like ancient remedies and simple recipes and remedies for every condition. And going through,
Wow.
it's got various recipes for. It tells you about all the different herbs
Mm.
that are natural healing herbs, so to speak. Um, but like for example, focus and concentration.
Oh,
It's
give me
basically
some of that.
a page dedicated to that for those natural elements because I'm not a believer in God, but a believer in Mother Earth, shall we say? And I believe that if the Earth was so magnificent and all the beautiful beings and creatures that we have on it, there's also some very, very um, positive herbs and vegetation that can help us.
Mother Nature will sustain us.
Mm,
We just
exactly
have
that.
to let her.
Mm, mm, exactly.
Awesome, mate. I love that. Anyhow, that was a bit of a segue away from what I was probably wanting to talk about, and that's actually inspired your name today. So it will become very quickly apparent to our audience. But today you are James Cool Sharples. So there it is in a nutshell. We want to talk about sales. We're both sales professionals, have been throughout our careers. We've engaged with a sales professional, Lisa Ansell, not so long ago on the pod. And in my day job as a recruiter, I speak with and try to place lots of sales professionals. And I can tell you, given that I'm in the field and I'm speaking to candidates, job seekers, applicants all day, every day, sales today looks nothing like it did probably even pre-pandemic, I would say.
No, I don't think it does. There's a lot of because we're obviously always on the lookout for new people and such to bring into the team. And I've had this, not so long about, or not so many years ago when I was working for a company where we were making a big recruitment drive on salespeople, and it just seems that there isn't a good old fashioned salesman left. I'm not talking about like white gold style salesman that's basically knocking and selling double glazing and robbing you like the popular series shows you.
Shall we go with salesperson just for?
Salesperson,
Okay.
sorry, yes, and yeah, I mean, what have you found more recently when you've been interviewing candidates?
Less accountability, I would say. Less, it used to be, and again, this isn't all great, obviously, but a salesperson used to be an arrogant individual who, frankly, believed in themselves to the point of being able to sell relentlessly with confidence. And
It
I
doesn't
don't
bode
know,
well for me with you saying that I've put my job title to absolute legend underneath.
That's hilarious. Yeah, absolutely. But there is that ego that came with successful salespeople. And when I talk about lack of accountability, I think these days you're far more likely to have sales professionals asking about, what will marketing do for me? What data will I be provided with? How will you support me? And all of that's fine, but are we talking about a salesperson there, or are we talking
Well, for that,
about an account manager or a
yeah, but that for me,
transactional inbound salesperson?
anything that comes inbound, that's account management. It's not sales. You're not having to sell to them if they're inquiring.
Mm.
There is obviously an element of it of basically convincing them to take any
Yep.
packages that they've inquired about. But
Yes.
for me, a genuine salesman is one that can prospect, that
Hmm.
can basically scout for information on the prospective client that they're going to
Yeah.
speak to that client, get past the gatekeeper, reach out to them and arrange
Mm.
a meeting. From that meeting, find out what they want, find out what their needs are, find out what
Mm.
their requirements are, find out what their potential problems are,
Yeah.
offer a solution based on that conversation,
Yeah. Yeah.
and follow up until the deal is done, and then look after him ongoing.
And I think that's entirely fair. And it used to be, and I think for a long time there was a stigma that came with sales and with outbound sales and maybe even direct sales. But it is a real set of skills, isn't it?
Oh, it's 100%. I mean, it's like to actually have the resilience to make those. What I've always, for me, I would prefer a salesperson to make 40 quality calls a day as opposed to the standard average of 100, 50, 20, and 10. I'd want somebody to make 40 quality calls. If you aren't making 40 quality calls, then I would expect those numbers to be further up towards the 100 mark to know that you are making the activity to ensure you're trying to get
So
a
you need to cover up the lack of ability with volume then, because if you knock on enough doors, you will find
100.
someone that's interested. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. And then from that process, make sure that you are getting all the relevant information. Like we've said, two of these, one of these for a reason. Find the solution that they need and propose the solution that fits the client.
Yeah.
Yes, it's nice if we get assistance with from marketing and inquiries coming in inbound, but it shouldn't be the expectation.
Mhm.
A salesperson shouldn't be going into a job and saying, "Well, yeah, I can do this job, but how are you doing it for me?"
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, if it's a shared effort, then surely it's a shared commission.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
again, if you're on splits, then you're already looking at why you're not wholly responsible for the pipeline that you are harvesting versus actually hunting, which again is cliche in sales, but hunters, farmers, two very different individuals.
Individuals, yeah. I mean, I'm a cultivator. I'm basically a blend of all of
Right. Okay. Cultivator.
them.
So I asked our best friend ChatGPT before this pod.
Mm,
Very simple command because ChatGPT is all about commands, but I went super simple because I wanted to make it really as simple as this. And I said, "What are the attributes of a good outbound sales professional?" Pretty
yeah.
simple, no whistles and bells. Just what are
Let
the
me see if I
attributes
can
of a
guess.
good outbound? Yeah, go for it. I love that. Oh, this is like ChatGPT bingo. Let's go for it.
Yeah, just give me a second. Oh,
Okay, so there's. I was going to say
so,
that.
it would resilience has got to be in there, accountability has got to be in there,
All right, so
drive,
resilience and mental toughness is the first thing it references. So, ding, soundboard.
tick.
Yes, yes.
Accountability,
Let's have a look. There'll be. I mean, it should be, and it must be, but let's have a look. It will be one of these headings. Come back to me on that one while I scan it.
hardworking or self-motivated,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That's a big thing. Yeah.
um, good conversationalist, I suppose, friendly, approachable, professional, that sort of
Yeah, I mean they use clear and confident communication there. They
yeah.
talk about good outbound sellers articulate value succinctly. They can adapt their tone and language to different audiences while remaining neutral and credible.
That's pretty much exactly
Mm,
what I said, isn't it? So it's
I think so. Are you ChatGPT? I mean, did you respond to this? But yeah. So their headlines: resilience and mental toughness. Obviously, it breaks down. We won't go into it. Curiosity and active listening. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
curiosity and active listening. I'm a massive fan of that. Actually understand your prospects, challenges, clear and confident communications. We discuss strong preparation and research habits.
Yeah.
Again, this is all part of the job, and whether it be that you're doing it at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, or sometimes on the weekend, dare I say it, you need to be properly prepared and researched as you go to battle. Consistency and self-discipline, mega for me, that
Yeah.
one. Outbound success is, I would say, almost entirely built upon repeatable activity and consistencies. Commercial awareness, I'm a big fan. Good.
Yeah.
Understand how businesses operate and how decisions are made. Obviously, James, this one, coachability and desire to improve.
You've
Now,
always got to have that no matter what
I,
career you're in, I
and
believe.
and I'm absolutely with you on that one. And coachability and desire to improve. That's different to, you know, do it for me, and I need you to get me over the line with everything. But I think that desire and the being humble enough to take that direction, I think it's a big thing. Last two, adaptability, which is awesome, and integrity and professionalism. So, I mean, trust, let's
Well,
face it, in
trust and
sales.
yeah, yeah,
Failing
yeah,
that, you've got a problem, you
authentication.
haven't you? But ChatGPT comprehends it, and we comprehend it. Yet,
But a lot of
so many people don't see those attributes as prerequisite for sales. And yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm seeing the profession changing, and not for the better. We love an inbound. Obviously, if the phone rings because they've heard of you or your business or your service, that's amazing. But you can't predictably forecast your performance if you're relying upon inbound.
inbound. No, of course you can't. And, you can't do that you can't create a pipeline and a prospect list without going outbound yourself either. Yes, I remember not so long back in a company I was working with, I'd interviewed somebody that was he interviewed really well, and we spoke about hunting and farming, how to get your new opportunities, told about all, like, the prospecting and things that he could potentially do, et cetera. When he came to actually I sort of, like, made him my right hand, when I employed him and gave him a slightly improved position over to what I was initially offering. Um, and in the end, it transpired that he'd come from a company that had got a massive marketing strategy. It was in a space that there wasn't much competition in. And all of his inquiries were inbound. He had no clue about actually reaching out, cold calling, prospecting, and building and developing pipelines in a business. When we
Mm.
spoke about targets and individual targets, it was like, "Oh, well, I thought, I was your right hand, but I'm gonna have individual targets as well." It's like, "Well, yes. Yeah, I give targets to all of my team." You need
Yeah.
accountability, and you need to prove to them that for them to respect you, that you can do it
Uh,
as well.
and that's a great point. And again, I think, and I feel for a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and startup operators. And as you know, I do a lot of work within the IT space and within managed service providers and IT project companies, etc. A lot of these guys aren't native salespeople. Yeah. However, when they come to recruit a salesperson, they trust that what that person's saying in the interview is going to stack up. And I think you saying that resonates because, again, salespeople should, if nothing else, be able to sell themselves. And they'll
Yeah.
sit in front of these stakeholders and business owners and they'll say all the reasons why they're great. But actually, when it comes to it, if they can't repeat those attributes that ChatGPT has just force fed me there, then they're always going to struggle. And a big tell for me, actually, and look, I'm speaking to salespeople, as you know, all day, every day, is knowing your targets, understanding your performance against those targets, percentage of exceeding, how that relates to peers, industry peers, as well as within your company, your colleagues. If you're speaking to a salesperson isn't very quickly clear about what their target is, be it a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual target, if they don't know what that is and how they're performing or tracking against that, or again, dare I say it, what their commission looks like should they be successful against those targets, they're not taking
You're
it
not a sales
seriously. They're not a
you're not a
salesperson.
salesperson.
They're not accountable. They're not tracking. And actually, it's for me a false economy. How
Well,
do you see it?
I know what my MTO is.
Mhm.
I know my minimum, my target, and my outrageous. I know what the team's, MTO is.
Mhm.
Not just the target on a monetary value and what we want to be hitting every month. There's a minimum target and outrageous, but I know
Yeah.
the targets that I've also set on the amount of calls, the amount of emails, the amount of LinkedIn posts, the amount of personal marketing I need them to do to be able to
Mm,
win trust and build relationships. I know what those targets are for myself and for the team. If
yeah.
they don't know what those kind of targets are, not just on a monetary value basis, but on what they need to do to get there,
Mm.
then yeah, they're not salespeople.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a job for them, but it's not as an outbound sales professional. They're not a
No.
business development executive. They're not a sales development representative. They're not a salesperson. They might be inbound. They
Well, that
might
to me
be
is like
account
account
management.
management or
Yeah,
sales admin.
yeah, 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 yeah. And that is again a bit of a grey line there as well. But no, interesting. In terms of sales, then.
Do you find that nobody wants to call anymore? And I still find it the best form of outreach. So I've met people that purely want to do LinkedIn outreach.
Mhm,
And there's a post I saw the other day, which actually somebody that attended an event at LinkedIn,
mhm,
um, that I found really interesting, and it's something that
yeah.
I mentioned and we spoke about within, the team the following week.
Yeah.
Do you know what the average conversion rate on cold outreach on LinkedIn is for it to turn to initial outreach to business?
Well, most of what I get on LinkedIn is a byproduct of, and I sound very modern now, but of consistently showing up. Yeah. People become aware of me, they become comfortable, trust is built, and they'll reach out to me. That doesn't happen overnight. So if
No.
you were off cold asking, I would say 9 months, frankly. And I know that sounds extreme, like really extreme.
It's
I think
not far off.
if serious, I mean, if LinkedIn were dressing it up, because obviously you're in their building, they might say 3 months. So go on, what was their,
211 days.
which is what in months?
It's about 7 months, isn't it? 211 days?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, so
Hold
if
on, 1
so
second.
if you land in a business day one and your strategy is I'm going to take over the world via my LinkedIn engagement, then 211
Yeah.
days, which is 7 months. Sorry, you've passed probation, and if you've not converted,
Well,
have
that's
you?
what I mean. If you're relying just purely on LinkedIn,
Yep,
for your solution and to sell your solutions and doing cold
yep,
outreach,
yep.
you're not gonna make it past probation.
No, and I think it's a convenient, it's a comfortable, it's a cozy environment. We can post pictures and we can put some videos up and we can, get some text-based content out there. But actually, for me, LinkedIn, as much as often websites, etc., they're a nice complement to, as opposed to a replacement of
Oh,
sales.
100%. I see it as a trust builder and
Yep.
what they can see you're like as a person, see your authenticity. And like we've said on previous episodes of the podcast, you're not gonna be for everyone.
Mm.
You don't think you're gonna convert every opportunity. There's
And you
some
don't
people
have
you've
to
got to
be.
work with, and you don't have to be. No, but I've had it in these conversations with a lot of people before. It's like people just don't want to talk anymore. Yes, I'll agree. That has
Mm,
become more
mm,
difficult. It does seem to be. I remember having a cold call. It wasn't really a cold call. It's somebody that we'd been in touch with before,
mm.
and I remember ringing her up, and she was like, "You've rung me." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, we
Yeah,
haven't agreed or scheduled this phone call." I was like, "Well, no, that generally what happens
yeah,
when people ring you, it's like, what, do your
yeah.
friends have to agree a time to call you?" It's like somebody rings you, and then from there, you look to see if you can arrange a meeting to discuss things further, but it was just that absolute shock that I'd dared to ring, and I agree, it has become harder. Find the ones that do.
It
Keep
it
ringing.
it has become harder, and these days, switchboards, are they even a thing? Dunno.
Well, a lot's
Um,
AI now.
it is, and again, extensions. Many businesses don't have extensions, which again is a challenge. But sales has always been a challenge, and you've always had to find a way to get in contact with people that should legitimately be interested in your service, in your product, or in your offering. Not a guaranteed sale, but you need to
No.
find a way of presenting it to those guys and hoping that they'll consume your content. For me, isn't it? There are exceptions to the rule. There's some people that are making staggering money via channels like LinkedIn, and good luck to them. But I don't think you can confidently strategize that that's going to be your way of engaging buyers if
No,
you're not doing the other things.
I think if it's a lot easier, obviously, if it's a business to consumer product, a business to consumer, if it's a product as well, rather than a services based business. I can see how that would be a lot easier to sell your wares by a LinkedIn
Mm.
post, by a Facebook post. I've done the same thing, you know, that well, as an example, I've shown you 2 examples within this episode with the white tea and
Mhm.
the
Yes.
book that I've bought about videos I've seen on Facebook and thought,
Yeah.
I wonder if that
Mm.
works." So I've bought it. You know,
Yeah.
that didn't take me 211 days to do. It took me about 21 seconds, to consider, and yes, I'd like that. I'll do it. But yeah, if your sole strategy is gonna be based on LinkedIn outreach, expect especially if you're coming into a new role, unless you've got some magic formula, that nobody else has, you know, LinkedIn itself has said that it's 211 days as an average for conversion. Expect to not make it past your
Yeah,
probation.
and
Y
that's a very interesting stat, actually. No, it really is interesting. I mean, look, take your podcast mic there that's
mm,
flashing all these red, blue, greens, and whatnot.
mhm, mhm.
Mate, that can be turned into a nice TikTok. It can be turned into a nice, Facebook or YouTube or whatever. You can get engagement. But if you're selling health, well-being, if you're selling sort of coaching, myself, I'm selling recruitment. Yeah, it doesn't TikTok very well, does it? It doesn't.
No,
You can't
and
capture it, and that's not how we're likely to engage our clientele. We
no,
have to have
potentially
human conversations.
for them to sort of build trust and to see the things that you're doing, and eventually people will reach out. You know, I've had it
Yeah.
recently, somebody reaching out and wanting some information on sessions based on the
Hmm.
content I put on LinkedIn with via my head of leadership.
Yeah.
Um, but that's my supplementary. And a lot of the stuff that I do on LinkedIn, in all honesty, I do when I'm not working. You know, so well,
Okay.
I'm always working, but, we're old
Salesperson.
school. We're old school. I remember when I was a lad, I used to have to walk 15 miles through the snow, and I didn't have any shoe and no shoes. But no, we're old school in that sense that we're always working, and I will do a lot of my content either after I've been to the gym in the morning, I'll get
Hmm.
in back in the house about 6:30, make
Show
myself
off.
another coffee, have um, have a protein shake and do some filming. Or again, after I finish work in the evening. It's
Mm.
because it's supplementary to the sales work that I'm already doing. And if something
Yeah.
comes from it, brilliant. But if people then want to see some form of trust or such in my services that I'm speaking to, just have a look at my LinkedIn. You can
Mm.
see all of
Mm.
the testimonials,
It's
client testimonials, and
credibility, isn't it? It's
yeah,
credibility. Should we make supplementary word of the day?
supplementary. Yes, I like it.
Mm.
Either that or
Mm.
we can say, when salespeople expect everything to be done for them, I'm flabbergasted,
Okay. Either or.
flummoxed,
Either or. But
discombobulated.
so yeah. So you've obviously eaten a thesaurus for breakfast and spewing out all over the pod. But yeah. So I mean, look, sales is a topic that you could talk about all day, all week, and frankly, there are numbers of ways to get to the same end product. However, I think if you're a salesperson in 2026, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but as a differentiator, pick up the phone, remain committed, um, and and self motivate. I think you've got every chance of winning the day.
Of course you have. Of course you have, and, it doesn't surprise me that on that list that ChatGPT has come up with for you,
Mm.
or any other form of AI platform, and, suitable, replacement,
Sponsors
has put
welcome.
this sponsors welcome, has put resilience at the top, and I
Mm.
wonder if it would have been the same if you'd have asked for that list, say, 10 years ago, when
Mm.
sales
Mm.
potentially was a bit easier. You know, it is a lot harder, I think, now than it ever has been, in the lack of
It's different,
connection
James. It's
that we
it's different, isn't it? It's different. I started sales when there were fax machines. We didn't have emails. We had filing cabinets. I mean, that is how long I've been at this.
yeah,
And yeah, then you have the advent of emails and mobile phones, like completely changed the recruitment industry. As you can imagine, suddenly you have contact with people that aren't at work or that can just sort of scurry away out of sight and earshot and have a conversation. Change the game. Sales, though, has always been difficult, and it's just reinvents and there's always challenges. And again, salespeople are always destined to be surplus at some point because of the advent of emails, databases, et cetera, AI, blah blah blah. But there will always be a place, I believe, for proactive, organized, and resilient salespeople who are willing to just do the basics repetitively. And that, again, for me, is where success lies. And it's, I say, for 2026. I would say the same for 2025, 2024, 2023. It's always been the same. There'll always be challenges. It's always going to be tough, but you have to turn up. You have to work hard in an organized fashion, and you can be successful. Yeah,
What a perfect ending to the pod.
let's do it. Look, it's when this is released, episode 18, it would have been my birthday the day before. So I'm not I'm not after anything too significant, but
Maybe I
but
bring you a sponsor for your birthday.
ooh, watch this space.
Watch
Watch
this
this
space.
space. But yeah, it's been a good episode. I think guest one next. Looking forward to that massively. And onwards and on to the
And
next one,
upwards.
James. Great
Nice.
stuff. Have a good one.
Good to see you again, buddy.
Thanks for listening, guys. Cheers.